concerning the town's composting facility. Without a town composting facility, most of the residents' food waste would end up in some landfill where anaerobic bacteria work on it and release a lot of methane gas. Methane lasts 10 to 12 years, much less than carbon dioxide. But for those 12 years, methane is over 80 times more powerful in trapping and retaining heat than the same amount of carbon dioxide. It is an extremely powerful greenhouse gas. And since these next 12 years are critical in trying to prevent catastrophic climate change, reducing the amount of methane we emit is also critical. So providing a composting facility for residents to bring their food waste will have an immediate and significant impact. At the same time, compost mixed with soil makes the soil healthier, and healthy soil can absorb and store a lot of carbon for a very long time. And since we're already way above the 350 parts per million level we need to be at, absorbing more carbon from the air and storing it in the ground is also critical. So a food scraps facility attacks global warming from both ends, decreasing the amount of methane we emit from food waste and using the compost to help absorb more carbon out of the air and store it. Young people today are feeling more and more hopeless about the future with climate change, frustrated and angry that adults who caused it are abandoning them. And they are pleading with us to act to protect their future rather than destroy it. Young residents of Lewisboro are every bit as much a part of this town as adults, and you represent them every bit as much. Maintaining a town composting facility is a small but important step in doing that. When I volunteered at the community center, I did their composting. When I went to the Bedford facility, I felt not only my own pride in making a difference, but also that same pride on the faces of so many others who used the facility. There was a definite sense of community and of making a small but real difference. You're now making that possible in Lewisboro, and you should take pride in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Anyone else?
How you doing, everybody? My name is Kramer. You can call me Cosmo. I know that's what everybody does. But first name is Cal. I represent Katona Close Homeowners Association, which is on Fairmount. I think most of you know that. I just wanted to make a comment. Some of my colleagues are here. We just were a little concerned about the park. We like the park. We think it's a great idea. We just have a couple of concerns about the street. First of all, and I'm not going to throw this up with debate. I understand we have a certain amount of time, but you're going to need some no parking signs on both sides of that street. There's a speed limit of 25 miles an hour. And I, for one, do not do 25 miles an hour. That's very slow. So I probably go 30. I probably break the law every day. But when we walk on there, there are people doing 40, 45, and 50 miles an hour. My wife and I walk up, we tell people, slow down, slow. They go right by us. It's just so dangerous. So you're putting up a park that I understand people are going to walk to. One of our concerns are, where are these people coming from? Are they coming from Boulder, which is not a bad walk? Wild Oaks, it's a healthy walk, especially when you turn around and have to walk up the hill. But where else are they coming from? They're not coming from 138. They're going to have to come and park somewhere. I just wanted you guys to know, and I'm sure the town has this all out, but we don't know about it, so we're a little unsure. Where is the parking going to be? We have a little, an area that is owned by the HOA. We looked on the tax map today that you guys have an easement for the pump station. It's a little cutaway. That's for emergency use. If one person parks there, you're going to have 4 people trying to park there. That's not allowed. We are going to have signs by Lowell Court, no parking, private property. Because if it's a nice day and a lot of people start coming, they're going to start parking in our parking lot. I know they are. That's not permitted. That's private property. So that's a concern of ours. So another question is is there gonna be a sign there that the park closes at dusk? Are you gonna have anything like that? That's a concern. Have you thought about maybe putting a speed bump on Fairmount? There is one all the way up on Wild Oaks before you get to 22. One by Lowell Court would be great because that's when you're really coming downhill and people are really trying to get to that stop sign fast. So I am very concerned that I am, and like members in Katona Close, we're concerned that there's gonna be. Is that for you? Oh, that's for me. All right. Well, all right, then I'll end real quick. The only other thing I'd like to point out is, have you thought about people cleaning up? Who's gonna come in and clean up after people stay there? There's gonna be garbage there. There's gonna be drinking. I know it. My daughter grew up there. You'll probably find some beer cans with her name all the way in the woods. But that's gonna happen again. So those are our concerns. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott. Anyone else?
James Gardner from Katona Close as well. I've been living there for almost 30 years. And over the last 30 years, the fire department had been coming and filling up their fire truck at the bottom of that hill. There's usually a policeman there directing traffic. There's extra firemen there directing traffic, stopping people speeding down the hill. If this park goes in and there are cars parked along the street where the park is, there's a limited access to the road. There would have to be somebody from the town, because it's the town park, that's going to be either directing traffic or making sure that people are safe, whether they're walking or whether they're driving up and down the hill. That road is not built for, it's built as a 2-lane road. It's not built as with a parking area. Up further, we actually built a cutout into the road to create some parking for the residents of the area above us in Wild Oaks, where they had a party or something, and they could put 4 or 5 cars on a gravel section. So, that might not be a bad idea, but you're looking at getting maybe 5 cars, 8 cars, 10 cars, and people will come from other areas to enjoy the park. Again, I'm not saying the park's not a great idea. I'm saying that the town is going to have to do their due diligence to make sure that people are safe and that the park is cleaned up and it's closed at a certain time, and that it would be nice for people to enjoy it and not get it abused or destroyed.
Anyone else? Anyone else in the room? So,
Yes. We have Carol Cernak. Carol, I'm asking you to unmute.
Hi, Carol Cernak, 70 Spring Street South, South Salem, New York. I'd like to address the board regarding the Hickory Homes operation and the removal of the mulch pile and the timber pile at the Salt Dome site. After a conversation I had with Tony just about 45 minutes ago, I realized that if I'm not asking the right questions, I'm not getting the right answers. So at this time, I'd like to poll the board to know who on the board knew that there was a end of June deadline for the mulch pile to be removed. Who on the board knew that the pile was either being given or sold to Tommy Gossett? Who on the board knew that a previous business owner in South Salem and in the Vista area had offered his services to provide mulch, free mulch from that mulch pile, was denied because he was not union? Who on the board knows if Tommy Gossett is union or if he's not? And why I had the police called on me for being down at that site. I'm not union, but apparently there's a lot of people not union on that site. And let's figure this out. Let's get transparency. It's just doesn't seem the right thing to do. I could go on and on and on, but I would like to hear from the entire board about who knows what and what the plan is. So, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. I'm asking Mr. Monty, assuming it's Jonathan, to unmute.
Yes, hi, it's Jonathan Monty, Boulder Lane, Golden's Bridge. Thank you. Just to comment about the Pocket Park, I'm a trustee of the Golden's Bridge Hamlet Organization. We as an organization have committed to, after any infrastructure we install that needs to be maintained, we commit to doing that, and we will also commit to hosting periodic cleanups of the Pocket Park. So just to clarify some questions and concerns before.
That was good, right?
So just to just to clarify it with the board, we will maintain infrastructure that we install, and we will also commit to cleanups. That's all. Thank you very much to the board.
Thank you, Jonathan. And that appears to be it.
Okay, thank you, Janet. Communications, I have a couple of things here. First is a letter from New York State Department of Transportation to our Highway Superintendent, Peter Rippinger. It's regarding the annual CHIPS funding that the town will be receiving. We'll be receiving $192,422.64. That's for CHIPS, which is the Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program.
It's comparable to the prior year. I think maybe a little bit more. No?
I think it's about comparable, right, Peter Rippinger?
Yeah.
Comparable to prior, right?
Almost identical to last year, just a bump over.
Okay. And then the Pave New York component is $51,565.99. And the EWR, which is the Extreme Winter Recovery Funding, $41,816.61. So thank you to the New York State Department of Transportation for that. The other piece of communication is we posted on the Stormwater Committee page on our website. This is the interim and annual stormwater reports that were prepared by Kellard Sessions. It's a requirement for us to post this on the town website for public review and comment. We would then be, after a period of time, I think it's by June, sometime in June, we would be in a position to accept the report and authorize the supervisor to sign it for our filing. So if anyone is interested, they can review and comment on that report. It's on the website under the Stormwater Committee page. And that's all I had in terms of communications. Consent agenda, approval of minutes, and the monthly reports for the building department and police department. A motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Discussion?
Second.
Second, thanks, Rich. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So I'm gonna change around the order of the agenda. So we're gonna start with new business. Our police chief is here. So I don't want to take up too much of his time. So the item is approving a intermunicipality agreement with with Westchester County to approve use of the firing range at Westchester County by our police officers. We have the agreement. The board, I think, had some time to take a look at it. We got feedback from council. And does anyone have any questions on the IMA or any questions for the chief while he's here?
Chief, could you give a 20-second overview of it for? the
Yeah, so
public?
this is basically done in the past. We've signed this agreement before. Basically, every year we have firearms instructions for all my police officers. We shoot you once a year, two 8-hour shifts. So I split it up. So half the guys have the opportunity to go to one certain date and then another date. And basically, if you read this agreement, it actually says that it sends an invoice to the municipality. In this case, it doesn't. Because what I have a kind of a gentleman's agreement with some of the detectives down there that run the armory. And basically, I send one of my part-time officers, he's a firearms instructor through the through the FBI National Academy. And he goes down there for 2 days every year for the new recruits to help the instructors of the police academy instruct the new recruits in firearms training. Because obviously there's 100 kids or adults. And then you have, a shortage of staff of maybe 5 or 6 officers that run the police academy. So it helps when you send people down. It costs the town of Lewisboro $699 to do that. In return, it's saving us approximately $2,000 because what it would cost us for 16 hours of the flat rate at $630, and then you got 16 hours of a Westchester County police officer who's an instructor / safety officer to observe us shooting on those 2 nights would cost $646 a night. And again, it's 2 nights, so it comes to like $2,500 and change. So we're actually saving money by sending somebody down there for 2 nights at a part-time rate. And I think the gist of that whole agreement, I'm sure Greg Fulchetti, it's basically as well, if we get injured, God forbid somebody gets injured on the firing line, it's just explaining that the town is liable for the 207C and whatever, whatever is included in that, so.
You're okay with this? You're
Right,
okay?
it's a standard agreement Westchester does with most of the local PDs, so they can do their firearms training at a facility that's suitable for it. So I've seen it in that form for many years with many government agencies. Actually, the rate is lower this year than I've seen in past years in terms of the hour. But
Okay.
as long as they have our coverage, then we'll be allowed to do it.
Motion to approve the firing range agreement
And for the supervisor.
and authorization for supervisor to sign.
Andrea read their second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Old business, we have, we're hoping to discuss the Golden Bridge Hamlet Organization Agreement for the pocket park that we've been discussing. We had a red line version of it that we were going to discuss here amongst the board members. But we have a new version that was received by council over the weekend. So we haven't had a chance to review that new version with new red lines. So we're actually going to skip this item for tonight. And we'll take it back up again, possibly at the next meeting.
Just to be rigorous about it, it's about the licensing of the piece of property to the Hamlet organization to use. It's
Right.
not a park, it's not a town park per se.
Correct.
Just to distinguish that.
It's a license for the GVHO.
Yeah.
And that agreement allows the the town to revoke that the license within a certain period of time if we ever wanted to do something else with that property.
Yeah, based upon certain notice provisions.
Correct.
But yeah, so we'll, I guess, take it up.
Yeah, so we're gonna-
Their version.
Table it, review
The changes that I got over the weekend, I don't think are dramatic.
right,
I didn't want to put it in front of the board here that close to the meeting.
Right.
I didn't have a chance to look at them either.
okay,
I'll have something to do in advance of the
Right.
23rd.
Okay.
That's for you to consider.
But appreciate Katona Close residents' input on this, so
Absolutely.
we'll be
Thank you.
looking at that as well.
I have a question. Who insures the park against any liability or any damages or,
the GBHO have a policy and
who's gonna insure your park?
we do,
The
the
town?
town,
Okay.
correct.
GBHO is supposed to have a policy in place during the work while it's being done.
Yeah, they currently have a certificate of insurance in place.
And as an ongoing park, it's insured against anybody getting injured or
Correct.
falling in the pond or.
Well, you say it's an ongoing, no, it's town property the way it's been since the town foreclosed on it.
Okay.
Right, so it's always been insured.
Okay.
Okay, next item is it's an update to a resolution for the ALS bike tour. They want to include an additional stop, which is the town park.
Didn't they do that last year? Did they stop at the town park last year?
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
remember. Okay, thank you, Janet. So basically, this is it's a motion to approve the LS bike tour to include this additional stop. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
No requirement to stop at the snack bar while they're there.
We don't have a snack bar. I wish we did. Next meeting, we'll take that up.
Picking up on
So,
last meeting.
all in favor?
Aye.
Next item is a resolution for creation of the MEO, which is machine equipment operator / mechanic position. We had approved this in the budget. It came up in order to get that position created within civil service, the board needs to approve the creation of that position. I know we had a question about this a couple.
My initial thought was to possibly defer to see where we were financially into the third quarter. But in getting further information and input from everyone, it's a $3,000 differential, so I'm fine proceeding forward on it right now.
Okay, so motion to create the MEO mechanic position. Do I have a second? Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Next item is the wood debris removal. So yes, we have Hickory Homes there to answer some of Carol's questions. They are clearing out and they have pretty much cleared out the majority. I think there's maybe a little bit left of the mulch. So the objective is to get that cleared out as soon as possible. I did ask them to get this done by June timeframe. As far as any removal by anyone else, or if the wood chips are being, or the mulch, I should say, that if the mulch are being provided to anyone else, I don't have the specifics about if that entity has picked them up or not. I can't discuss the union issues because I don't know what they are, that Carol mentioned. But the objective is to clear out that mulch pile, and then put in place a new process for handling the wood debris going forward. So we've had 2 bids that went out for this. In both cases, they were non-conforming. Thank you. And so the next step, but we have an idea of what the cost would be to the town to remove and process the existing wood debris. And with that in mind, we now want to compare that to a new arrangement that we had discussed looking into, which is a lease arrangement. To have this process in place that would, of course, prevent any or exclude any additional cost to the taxpayer. I know there's been some concerns about the cost to the taxpayer for removing the wood debris. With this lease arrangement, we feel that we can eliminate that cost. So the next process here with the board is to review a draft lease agreement. And then see if we want to, entertain an arrangement with someone that can assist us with that process and the wood debris removal.
Weren't we putting something out there to find out what the value of such a service was? That's what I thought we were doing.
Well, we did that with the bid, right, to get an idea of what it would cost to remove the wood debris on an
Right.
ongoing basis.
But
So we
didn't
have
get-
those
We
numbers.
didn't get the information we wanted, though. I thought we said that the response was non-conforming.
They were not, we got the pricing, but they were not conforming because of insurance or lack of insurance coverage that we required.
But it provided us the number with regard to the value.
Correct.
Okay.
So we know the value, and now we're going to compare that to a lease arrangement where we could potentially make money. And set the parameters around the operation.
Did you distribute those to us? Do we have them from a previous meeting?
We have, yes, the draft lease agreement was
No,
distributed.
the responses to the bid. the numbers that we're talking about?
We can, yes, we can, we have not distributed that. I don't think we have, but
Okay.
I'll check. Yeah.
Thank you.
So as part of this, just to give backdrop as to this, so what I was trying to do was, we have that information referable to the value of the mulch removal, et cetera. So I'd gotten input from Highway, as well as sat down with Hickory, so we can essentially take.
And Hickory is the entity that was doing the processing before. just to-
Correct. So sit down with Hickory and get some input with them. I did some months back, as well as Highway, and update it and use it as and I put some bullet points together of those meetings, which town attorney incorporated, to have the overall concepts, to have a certain term, to get money for use of the property by rental payments, to make sure that anything that's going on there by way of activity is limited to a certain times of the year. So there's predictability, and which are going to be set, so neighbors will know what it is. There'll be nothing going on during.
Very few number of days that we're talking about.
Yes, we're talking about, we're talking about so we have, and this, we got input on that. We're talking about 6 times per year, the lease premises duration no more than 5 days per occasion, and 2 occasions during the year for soil processing operations, and no more than 5 days for those occasions. So you're talking about more than 90% of the calendar days during the year would be no activity going on. And there's also a provision in there that nothing would go on from July 4th to Labor Day, because one of the things I was concerned about, make sure it's not impacting anything in the summer going on at Echo Farm. So that's in there as well. And also we're ensuring and doing my legwork and research to make sure that it's complying with applicable regulations, particularly DEC regulations, and there's mulching regulations, which have gone into effect back in 2017, which is a real page turner if you want to read about DEC regulations. So we're trying to address that too, to make sure that there's compliance with applicable regulations and provisions. So that's those highlights are incorporated within the draft lease agreement, which I'd like for everybody to take a look at, and then and any input that you have referable to any provisions or how we can tweak it, and then we set us in a position to move forward to have a mutually beneficial situation, where also one of the things we want to talk about, and this is something that's been paramount, is to make sure that the town gets the benefit, for example, any kind of storm, post hurricane or any kind of storm, that part of the value that the town is going to get is assistance as far as any material that's brought following the storm. So it's a matter of actually doing a little more legwork and finding an appropriate amount that will be something that'll be acceptable and a mutually beneficial relationship.
In other words, they should process with some level of priority our own storm leavings.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So that's so we have to find a way to kind of quantify that, and there's a provision in there, but we got to try and come up with some numbers. And I want to circle back to Peter on that, get his input as well, see what based upon the experience as far as storms, he has the institutional memory, so I want to get his input on that. And that's where we are in
Thanks,
the
Rich.
process.
And yeah, and again, the objective here is to put a process in place that makes sense for the town, for our highway department, and is of little or no cost to the taxpayer.
And most importantly, balancing the concerns of the neighbors and making
Correct.
sure it's environmentally proper and in line with regulations, and we're balancing all these considerations and moving forward with a transparent and a process that benefits everybody.
Right. Okay, thank you for that.
Thanks.
Next, approval of claims. Motion to approve claims. A second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Polling of the board. I'll start with Dan.
Not much. I'm thankful to the building inspectors for going to the energy code enforcement training, and we submitted that to NYSERDA for the clean energy community credits. So that's some progress there. And just a reminder that we have been talking about another energy related item, the stretch code, and had that presentation. And I was going to send out to you guys, just a reminder that there are those resources that you can take a look at so that we can come back to it and make a decision as to whether or not we are going to take that up. So I need to do that just to prompt you guys, but just to remind you that's out there as an open item for us.
Okay, great, thank you. Andrea?
We have a school board election. Remind everybody that they got to vote at their regular polling places. I believe that's tomorrow, the 10th, is it not?
No.
The 17th, the 17th. Wow, I'm off the whole week. The 17th, everyone, not tomorrow. They won't let you in the building if you show up tomorrow. Relay for Life is June 24th. So that's going to be the first time that we've had that since before COVID. So we have that also. The Vista Fire Department's pasta dinner is this weekend, May 14th from 5 to 8 p.m. So come on down. And I believe Lewisboro Playground is starting their Food Truck Friday starting May 20th.
That's correct, from 5 to 8.
Great. Okay, Mary?
Well, I was going to mention the Food Truck Friday for the Lewisboro Playground. That's from 5 to 8 at the town park. There will be live music, food truck, long games, and ice cream. And also the Lewisboro Library is having on Wednesday, May 11th, a virtual meeting about coexisting with coyotes. And on Thursday, May 12th, they'll have a meeting at 6 p.m. on demystifying Medicare and healthcare options for seniors. And on May 17th, there's an earring design workshop that you can participate.
Thank you. Rich?
A lot of alliteration. Thank you, Tony. Just a couple things. Want to just give a shout out to the LBA. The opening day ceremonies was great. It's a great day, beautiful weather. People from the community coming together and get to see the improvements, which were because of the Boutte family contribution, new dugouts, new sound system. It was terrific. Also want to give a shout out to GVHO that the Pocket Park improvements are underway. And there's another, I believe, a second session this Saturday, I believe.
They were there today, actually, with some.
They got some
additional
volunteers.
interns.
Yeah. I think there's a session which was rain dated from last and going for this week.
Mhm.
And happy belated Mother's Day to everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. So I have a couple of things. So on April 27th, I attended Assembly Member Chris Burdick's Women of Distinction Awards. And I just wanted to read out the names of some of the women who received the awards. We have Peggy Jett, who's a longtime member of the Garden Club, who's recently moved out of town, but she was awarded that distinction.
Library Fair volunteer.
Library Fair, sorry, yes.
Attic
That was the other
Treasures
one.
person.
Attic Treasures, that's right, yeah. Pam Veith also received that recognition. Pam Veith works for the Parks and Rec Department. She is the Senior Citizens Liaison, so she does a wonderful job with the senior citizens. And then we had the three women who are involved with the Juneteenth celebration and planning, Dawn Brown Barrettson, Cynthia Ryan, and Letitia Stapleton. It was a wonderful event. There were 40 women there who received this award. And it was very interesting to listen to each of their individual stories and what they've accomplished. So it was a great night. And then I have let's see, we have, LBA was a great event. I enjoyed grilling with the Lions Club. We broke out our new grill and we went through a lot of burgers and hot dogs. I don't have the exact count, but it was busy.
Veggie.
And we even have veggie burgers, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Just a word on COVID. So I got these numbers from our emergency management, Adam Oakes. So just to give you an idea of where we are. So back in February, we were at 32 active cases. It slowly creeped up to 51, 61 in April, 62 1 week ago. 1 week later, we're at 93 active cases. So COVID is still out there. Just, be cautious, be cognizant of what you need to do to prevent potential spread. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be with us for a while longer. So we just
And
need to be
Adam didn't have
careful.
any statistics about any kind of serious cases or hospitals. I mean, my understanding
I don't know
anecdotally
if-
that.
Yeah, I don't know
the
if Mary
serious
has
cases,
any, like hospitalization rates. I didn't look into that, but
They're not as bad as the last spike. When people are testing at home more frequently and they're staying home, it's not as severe, although speaking from personal experience, it's no walk in the park either. So the reason we want people to be more careful is because if there's a loved one or a neighbor who has a comorbidity, which means they've got something like diabetes, which could really throw them for a loop if they get COVID, or our elders who can't get the vaccination, or our young ones, people who are under 5 still haven't had an approved vaccination. So the parents are trying to be very careful. We don't want anyone to get sick because we care about Lewisboro. And it's a lot.
Do we know if the second booster is available in town, like at Paul's or anything? Do we know?
I think they are. Yeah, I think
It is.
Pfizer.
It is.
Pfizer.
Okay.
It
booster.
is Pfizer and Moderna. They're holding off on Johnson right now. And with Paul's Pharmacy, you have to go online to make an appointment, but it's very easy to do.
Okay.
Right.
And there are other places where you can get them as well. I do
Right.
believe the Cross River Pharmacy is also,
I don't know about Cross River. I do know that Pulse Pharmacy.
yeah, I
is
do,
giving
I
us-
know about Paul's. but-
Okay.
And also your local primary care physician should be able to
Right.
connect you with that.
Maybe
Okay.
Adam maybe could put a link on his next distribution as far as availability on that, right?
Yeah, I think we have. I think he's got that in that.
Yeah,
The
the
information he
email.
sends
We
us,
can-
and he does
okay,
post that.
Yeah.
The other thing I forgot to mention as far as health goes is that May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
And many volunteers have helped us put up ribbons. You'll see them around town from the Westchester County Alliance for Mental Health. And it's to let people know that mental health is health. And it's really important that we support one another. And if you're struggling, I know we've all gone through the pandemic and it's been challenging for all of us, but it's been challenging to each of us individually. So we have to be compassionate, not only with our fellow neighbors and our loved ones, but with ourselves as well. So we posted some links on the front page of the Lewisboro Town Government's website for more information on that.
Great. Thank you, Mary. Just a couple of things. So last week we had our county executive, George Latimer, paid us a visit on Friday. Mary participated in that meeting, as well as Leo Masterson, our control and deputy supervisor. So we had George Latimer, his deputy, Ken Jenkins, and 3 other people from his staff. Basically, just to reach out to let us know that they're there to support us. We discussed a couple of things that we can maybe continue dialogue on. And so it was very great. It was good to see that they made the trip up to Lewisboro to meet with us and took time out of their day to do that. And today we met with, and Andrew was there with me. We met with Sean Patrick Maloney, our congressman. And it's right here.
Yeah, go get the check.
He delivered a check This is the check that's gonna go to Oak Ridge. It's the $1.8 million grant, federal appropriation for the PFAS mitigation. So he held a press conference, and Gino, you were there. Thanks for being there. So he held a press conference at the water treatment plant. It was well attended. We had some of the local residents attend, and it was recorded, so it'll be on the news outlets like News 12, I think Spectrum One, which is the other cable company. We'll get a copy of it, and I'll make sure that it gets posted to the Lewisboro TV channel as well. But yeah, it was a great event, and yeah, I haven't gone to the bank yet with this, but I'll let Leo do that.
Wonderful. Certainly worth celebrating.
And that's all I had.
You were gonna hit up George Latimer about buses, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, we did. So that was one of the topics. Yeah, so they're actually they're going to be doing a transportation study of their bus system,
Full blown.
which is actually run. I did not know this, but it's run by Liberty, which is independent of the county.
Yep.
County owns the buses, and
Contract.
Liberty, yeah, it's a contract.
And I think there are 2 more years on the contract right now.
Yeah.
So they can't change anything
Pretty
right
new
now.
contract.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now, that bus, it goes as far north as Katona. And so ideally, we'd like for them to come up Route 22, maybe stop at the Affordable Housing Complex, maybe stop at the MTA lot near the shopping center, and then loop back south. So that was something that they took notes, so they'll go back and.
I was thinking of
discuss it on that.
a very modest ask, might be a couple of bus shelters
Okay,
for our, the one we do
Right.
have. anyway.
Right.
I don't know if they
right.
do that, but.
Yeah, we can certainly ask, and they're very open to whatever, it's worth discussing and
Yeah.
see what happens. So they're very open
That
to.
might be something that they could
Right.
act on right away.
Right.
And I feel like it's like an announcement, like, hey, we have this system here, take
Right.
advantage of it. And you people who do use it, we value you.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera. So,
Right. We discussed cell towers. We discussed Mountain Lakes Park and the possibility, because I know that's come up several times during cell tower discussions, and the potential to have a cell tower located there. It has been discussed in the past, but it's not something that's gonna happen because of the park alienation rules that they have. But they're willing to bring it up with folks, the appropriate folks again. So we're gonna keep trying to see if we can get something that will help cover that northern part of town. Yeah, but it was a good discussion. So that's all I had.
I did have something to add, just
Okay.
for the Baseball Association's opening day, a few behind the scenes things. I think that we have to send a great deal of thanks out to Bill Bongiorno, who helped facilitate the grant to the Lewisboro Baseball Association. And not only that, Bill and a few of the other members of the LBA spent hours and hours and hours of landscaping
Right.
and
Right.
gardening and making it look beautiful. I also want to thank the members of our Architectural Review Board because they followed through with our request to expedite some matters such as painting the walls and the signs. And thanks to them, we were able to get those things approved so that we could move ahead with opening day the way it was
Right.
planned. So thank you to our board as well.
We want to thank
And speaking of wood chips and mulch, we got rid of that mulch.
Yes, the
Notice
mulch
that?
is
The
going.
chip?
I think some of it was used by the
The
Boy
chips.
Boy Scouts were using it for a project.
Yeah,
And so that big mulch pile in the upper parking lot is almost completely gone, right?
right. Yep. I haven't seen it, but I think it's, yeah.
It was
yeah.
way back when I drove past the other
Yeah,
day. I
okay,
went,
good, good.
Mary?
And that's thanks to Joel and his crew, Sean and
Yes,
Highway helped as well. So we got that.
Mary,
taken
remember,
care of.
the Ciprianos and Copia donated the plantings, so we want to say
Okay.
thank you to them as well.
Yes. And speaking of grants, so there's another grant. We got some good news on the Water Improvement Infrastructure Act grant through the New York State Environmental Facilities Corp. We were awarded the grant.
Yes.
So they accepted our application. So basically, while we were waiting on the federal monies to come through, we applied for this grant, and the application through the state grant was $1.9 million. And we would receive, so we were approved for 60% of that, because that's what they typically do. It's a reimbursable grant. You borrow, you spend the money, and then they reimburse you up to 60%. So we did get approval on that from the state, which but now we have federal money as well. So the federal money going first, and then anything that's costs above the 1.8 million would be applied towards the state grant, and we
And
get
does that also
60%.
go, the state grant also go to the Oak Ridge?
That's correct. That's what it was specifically. And I have to thank Delaware Engineering. They did a wonderful job with the actual grant application because it was pretty complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, win-win all
So
around.
that's another 60% of up to 1 point.
Up to 1.9. So let's say the project costs $2 billion and we have 1.8 from the federal appropriation, that leaves 200,000 that can then be applied against the state grant. We get 60% of that back. So 180,000. So the cost to the district would be $20,000.
Is there room in there and the scope descriptions, whatever, to now look at like the luxury of additional redundancy in certain places, parallel pumps or, control system enhancements that would still fit in with the
Right.
scope, but we wouldn't have done otherwise?
So we did factor some of that in with this plant expansion because we're going to have all this new room to put stuff into, right, infrastructure. So we are going to take advantage of moving all the pumps that are crowded into the existing water plant room and move that to the new facility, and with some redundancy as well.
Yeah.
So, and if there's other things we can do, we'll try to squeeze them in.
Alarm type stuff.
Right. Yep.
And one of the things when we were talking with George Latimer was the question of sidewalks.
Yes.
As well. So we're hoping that we can apply for some grants to get sidewalks put in to our center's business, so everybody can walk more safely.
Yeah, there's different options around that, but there may be some help from the county
Oh, really?
in terms of, don't know so much about funding, but there's like the planning folks and,
Yeah, maybe on that
Yeah.
side, the soft
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
the engineering and planning.
right,
Yeah,
Right.
you do have some good expertise there.
Yep. Yep.
Especially, if it gets us to like shovel ready on
Mhm.
some stuff.
Right.
And the state grant application, that's earmarked for Oak Ridge?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's specific for Oak Ridge.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
Great.
So that's all I have. And so I think as far as the next meeting, it's on May 23rd, 7:30 PM here at the Townhouse. And now I motion to go into executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Oh, we're going to be discussing interviews for committees. We're going to be discussing a real estate item. Personnel, basically, yeah. Personnel and real estate.
So you got a second already?
So motion to go, second? Do I have
You have
a
a
second?
second ready? So we have a
Discussion,
discussion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So thank you all for coming out, everyone on Zoom, everyone here. Thank you. And good night.